Oh, didn't want that up yet. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? It is the day before Thanksgiving. Are you guys all ready for tomorrow? Hopefully you guys are. Hopefully. I don't think anyone's really ever ready for like holidays. It just comes together. It just comes together. Do you guys celebrate, Isabel, in Scotland? Do you celebrate Thanksgiving? And then I saw someone asked if Canada does. I don't know who all celebrates. I'm curious. I know I was listening to somebody earlier and they were saying like, I forget where it was, like parts of that country celebrated and then other parts didn't. But I guess if you want to celebrate, you could celebrate. You could always celebrate. You don't. Oh, that's what I saw. I saw Jan put that she's having prime rib. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Is to have some prime rib. If you follow allegedly with Brittany J, she did a short video about that actually. So it made me laugh when I read that. I read like, because I was like, She said, why don't we pick what we want to eat? Why do we have to have turkey every year? And I was like, she makes a valid point. You know, she's like, if it's the one like meal that we're thankful for, we sit with our family, and why are we eating turkey? I guess probably because that's what they had back in the settlement days. But prime ribs, that's where it's at. I bet my brother would love that. He would love that idea. I think all the guys in the family would. So hopefully you guys are ready for tomorrow. I don't know if we'll do a live tomorrow or not. We may do, if we do a live, it may be like a day live or something, but I'm not sure what's going on yet. So we'll just see where we're at. So we have a lot of reading to do tonight. Hopefully I can get through it all. There's just been documents coming out of left field. Well, not left field, out of Jan. Jan's been doing it. She's the one that's been, she's been giving me documents. So I've been thankful for that. I wish I would have had my, I had my computer with me today, but I was kind of, I was at the dentist. So I really couldn't see the screen. And it was one filling and it took 3 hours. It was the worst, but it was the best. She's the best. I love her. I love the girl that does my teeth, but it just took a while because there was a certain instructor there and she was very like by the book. And she was like, we could have done 2. I'm like, I know, but it's okay. It's okay. They're learning. So I don't mind. Nugget stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce. Oh, wow. She's got all rolls, pies, and salad for dinner tomorrow. Your kids hate turkey. So I used to hate turkey. I was that kid. My mom would make me chicken breast on like holidays when we have ham or turkey. Then I started liking turkey when it was just like the white meat. My mom would, pick it off for me, my dad or my mom. And then now I like ham too. So I don't know. As I got older, I liked it, but as a kid, I was that kid. My mom would make me a whole other meal just so that I would be, happy. As long as there's mashed potatoes and some sort of like green bean or corn or something like that, I'm cool. And like rolls, I'm usually good. If a kid will eat it, I'll eat it. That's what I say. Like really, I'm so picky. I'm so picky, but that's okay. That's okay. So we'll go ahead and get into Delphi. That's what we're going to cover tonight. If you guys don't mind, I'm just taking a second to hit the like button. Every time I say that, then I remember to tell you guys my name. And I'm like, I should tell them my name before I tell them to like the video. But I'm Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. You probably all know me in here. I don't know if we'll be very busy tonight on our live because I don't know who all is preparing for tomorrow tonight. I don't know how many people do that. I'm trying to think of what my mom used to do. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she prepped, I'm going to say probably noodles, things of that nature the day before. So she was probably tired around this time. She's probably like, are you guys going to bed yet? Because I need to go to bed. You forgot the green beans. See, there we go. And I remember Ashley was talking about casseroles, and I need to start liking casseroles. They always look good, but I'm not a casserole person, but my sister-in-law, she cooks a lot of casseroles. I think it's because she comes from a big family, and that's like, something easier to make for them, like nice big casserole. So she kind of brings it into her family now. I'm going to, okay, I don't want to zoom it that much in. I wanted to zoom the document in there a little bit, but what the heck? That was the dog. What the heck? Okay. Why does she do that? She does it whenever I come on live. She just made like the weirdest sound. She does that actually all the time. She makes crazy sounds all the time. She just made like a real weird sound. That's good. Isabel's dog, Bracken's going to be like, what was that? Little ears going to perk up. Hearing Mia out there with her big old whining bark. I'm going to scroll down to the page that we need. This is the transcript. So if you want to become a member, before we get started on the live, if you want to become a member of our channel, I'm going to put the channel link in the chat for you guys, or you can always go over to the main page and click the join now button. And it's always there available. We'd love to have you guys. Oh, one more thing. So I do own a boutique, and since Black Friday is coming up, I'm going to be running the biggest sale that I've ever ran, actually. I'm trying to move out like the inventory that I have now, so that way we can get all new inventory in, and it's going to be a really, really, really good sale. So make sure that you just check the community tab tomorrow, and I'm going to make a special members only post for like to give you guys a little something extra. So for Black Friday. So if you're interested, just make sure you check out my community tab tomorrow. Just want to make sure I told you guys that. Because, I love to shop. So tonight we're going to go, we're going to read through the transcript that came from the in-chambers meeting that Judge Gull had with the prosecutor, Nick McClellan, and Rozzi and Baldwin, Richard Allen's defense attorneys. So Richard Allen wasn't there when this took place. This was on October the 19th. And during that meeting, Judge Gull said that Richard Allen's attorneys were no longer going to be working for his defense team. She said that they were going to be quitting. They came out and they said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, we didn't. You're forcing us to resign. You're pretty much like making us resign, or you're going to make us face like public ridicule or scrutiny. So, and they would have been fired. So they didn't want that. The judge was saying that they showed gross negligence because of the crime scene photos being leaked. And I'm pretty sure it probably has to do with the 136-page memorandum that kind of was floating around there too. I don't think she appreciated that. I don't really know what I think of Judge Gull, but she doesn't look like she looks like an intimidating woman. And I think, and you think Nancy Grace is intimidating. Look at that woman. I don't know. That lady just makes me feel intimidated. So this was going to be the transcript for like behind the scenes in the chambers with the judge, with the prosecutor, and with Richard Allen's defense attorneys. And no Richard Allen. Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that. Hey, Fred. Welcome in. Hey, Donnie. Did I say that a lot? Oh gosh. I'll try not to say it too much then. I'll try to not do that to you guys. So I'm just going to try to use I'm just going to use the last names. I think that everyone kind of knows who that is. Or maybe I'll do Mr. McClellan. Now, when I say the court, that's going to be like Judge Gull. She's the court. And then everyone else will have their name. Now, I wanted to go through this document and highlight them for you, but for some reason, when I downloaded this document, it wouldn't let me pull it back up after I was started highlighting. Like it was being really weird with me. So this one is not highlighted. I'm sorry. Oh, really? It was? Oh, okay. So these are going to be the proceedings. Can everyone see that okay? I think it's probably good for you guys. If I can see it, you guys can probably really see it. I feel like I blow everything up really, really big. But if you guys ever do need to see something, just always say, hey, blow it up, Tanya. We can't see. So this is going to be Attorney Nicholas McClellan. Judge, I wanted to do some introductions. I finally got approval from our counsel to hire a paid attorney to help me. So, and she says the court. Okay. So I'm just going to say, instead of the court, I'm going to say Gull, Judge Gull. McClellan, small town local government. So this is Jim Luttrell. He is a retired prosecutor from Grant County. He's decided or agreed to come on board. Judge Gull says, okay, have a seat. Mr. McClellan, he signed the oath to my office. She says, okay. And all that, I'm going to handle a written appearance. Attorney James Luttrell says, nice to meet you, Judge. The judge says, nice to meet you, Jim. Mr. McClellan says, next week. The judge says, okay. McClellan, and that's the prosecutor, or maybe tomorrow if I have time, Judge, if I get it done. She says, okay. Mr. McClellan, but he will be entered in and we're trying to get him up to speed. Okay, well, good, she said. Attorney Bradley Rozzi, that's when, his attorney kind of speaks up. And he says, well, I'm the one that kind of asked to huddle up. So remember, at this time, they don't know that they're about to be fired. Like they're just going into chambers like what's going on. I wonder if they had any inkling that that's what was going to happen. I mean, being lawyers, I don't think so. I don't think they did because this isn't usually how it goes, I feel like. Bradley Rozzi says, so if you want me to lead or if you want me to say some things, I'm okay with whatever approach you want to take here. Judge Gull says, go ahead. Mr. Rozzi says, well, I think. Judge Gull interrupts him and says, I've got Jody's got your portable FTR going just so that and Mr. Rozzi interrupts her and says, oh, okay, that's fine. And she says, got a record. Mr. Rozzi says, obviously I'm happy to hear that the court's going to make some decisions on the pending pleadings today. That's her affirmative response. I remember reading these. Mr. Rozzi, I assume Andy feels the same way. We know it's time to kind of get some closure, if you will, with regard to those items so that we can move forward. It's probably obvious that the tension from our side is coming, from the words disqualification that were murmured in the phone conference that we had a couple weeks ago. Maybe they did. I'm assuming you understand how that kind of raises the intensity level of the circumstances. And I guess if I have a concern today is that, we're going to go out on the kind of public, so to speak, in the courtroom on the record and have a discussion about an ongoing investigation. And that's what I kind of gathered from the email. I think you invited Nick to talk about that if he wanted to. I'm just going to say, if I go, that's just Judge Gull. She's a woman of few words until she needs to be a woman of many words. And there's so many updates in this case for you guys tonight, too. So we'll have a bunch. So Mr. Rozzi says, and it makes me a little uncomfortable because I don't know. First of all, there are no pleadings that are pending, whether they're motions to disqualify or contempt citations or whatever they might be. They really frame any of the issues. And I have no problem. I don't have any problem talking about this stuff privately on the record in in an ex parte type confidential hearing. I just think it's a little difficult to expect that there will be any kind of structure to the idea, hey, there's an ongoing investigation and just tell us what's going on. And I don't know what it has to any relevance to what we're really trying to accomplish today. And I also don't know why Nick would want to talk about an ongoing investigation in public, knowing that in itself could be a little damaging to their circumstances. And so we're lawyers. We're used to having issues framed. We're used to having an opportunity to prepare, and I don't have anything to hide, and I know he doesn't have anything to hide. You've maybe gathered that we've cooperated. We ran into the state police post, our respective post, if you will, and I had someone advise me of my rights, and I waived those, and I gave a formal statement. He did the same. And I'm not sure what we're going to benefit or that this will be productive to just floor this. And that's my biggest concern today. So she said, wow. And then Attorney Baldwin, Andrew Baldwin, I'm more of the due process. I'm not really sure what will happen, but I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And I would like an opportunity to know what's going to happen and prepare for their claiming or whatever before it happens. And I don't want to say ambushed, but it's hard for me. I hate whenever I'm reading when they're talking. Where are we at? I don't know what's happening. There's not a pleading we can respond to, things like that. So, you had indicated that, when Nick said, I don't know if he said the word disqualification, and she says, Judge Gull interrupts and says, oh, he did. Mr. Baldwin says, was it that word? She said, Mr. Baldwin, okay, I didn't know if he just said it in a more generic way. She said, no. Mr. Baldwin, and your response was, I'm leaning in that direction or something along those lines. And the court said, Judge Gull, you got a lot of words. Mr. Baldwin said, and so that, a cause of concern, we're still wanting to try this case in January, and I'm willing to, we have made changes at my office and will prevent this from ever happening again, and we can take directives from the court. We can, we're locking down every single thing on Delphi. It's in a dedicated room. We put locks on our conference room or the war room where this guy my friend went in and did this without my knowledge. And no document, whether it be benign or something super, like a crime scene photo is ever going to be left alone for a single solitary second ever again. So, I'm hoping that we can be something that the court, can say, all right, that's fine. And then let's go on with the trial. But I'll shut up now. And Judge Gull says, anything, Nick? Man. Oh, Jan, welcome back to the crew, to the membership. I didn't even know you weren't a member. You're blue on my side. Oh, that's why you were darker. You were black earlier on that screen. Oh, I was wondering that. I was like, why is Jan a different color? And then I looked over here and I was like, she's a mod, because I thought something happened. I didn't do anything, because I was like, what happened? Did I get someone crashed my site? Oh, well, welcome back, Jan. You were gone for so long. I think it was a minute. Yeah, thank you for becoming a Titan Tier 2. That's so amazing. Thank you so much. Where are we at here? Okay, so he said he'll shut up now. And then she says, anything, Nick? And that's Mr. McClellan. So McClellan says, Judge, I guess my plan today was give the court a summary of the investigation. I've got witnesses here and exhibits to present that go towards the investigation. I'm more than happy to hand those over to the defense. I know it may harm the investigation, but I think it would be important that the court hear these things. I guess the heart of it, an audible investigation, I think it's important. I think the importance of you hearing it is outweighed by that. And so I have those things. What would be outweigh? What could Nick have possibly had that would outweigh Richard Allen's defense attorney is being fired on the spot and being like, just, you know what I mean? I just thought that's kind of concerning that he, you know. I'm concerned that the leak is not just a one-time leak. The evidence that we have shows it's an ongoing leak. However, it's being done and it's not just what's next. I have an issue. What's next? I mean, I spent the past 17 days investigating this night and day when I should have been focused on preparing for trial. Why was he investigating that anyway? And when I say night and day, I mean phone calls at 2 a.m., 3:30 a.m., night and day. And so that's where I'm at, Judge. Again, I'm an officer of the court. I'm reporting to the court what I know. And that's kind of where I see my role. Okay, well, why didn't the judge know this then? If he knew about this and he's investigating this, like, did she know? I don't think she did. Judge Gull says, okay, Mr. Rozzi, you know this is starting to scream due process to me. He gets a little upset. I haven't seen any of these exhibits and I don't know really, frankly, I don't know anything about any of this. I am not distancing myself from Mr. Baldwin. I'm just saying I have no connection with any of these people, okay? And the idea that somehow the prosecutor is going to roll out a bunch of statements and exhibits and, you know, testimony without us having any forewarning or any idea, any way of scrutinizing that seems a little outside the boundaries of due process to me. Plus, again, I get back to what is the relevance to what is going on in this case. Why are we going to use an open courtroom to air an ancillary matter? It's not really connected in any way at this point to the proceedings that are ongoing, whether it's the Franks issue or anything of that nature. And I will tell you this, I am prepared to show the court this. I would rather do it in private. This problem has been a problem from the very beginning. I have 10 pages of deposition transcript in this file from my deposition, our deposition that I took of Trooper Holman in this case. And in that deposition, he talks openly about how there were crime scene links from the very beginning, unequivocal crime scene leaks, and that as soon as the crimes occurred, they were investigating information that had been released because there were lay people that were part of the search party. And the implication is, and I've got the transcript, is that those people that found those girls started to essentially disseminate or distribute information, and law enforcement essentially try to catch up with them, but it was really too late, as you might expect. Once it gets in the hands of the public, it's too late. So he told us that, almost volunteered that information to me in the deposition. The second concern I have is that I think I shared this with the court. Just an example, a week or two ago, someone sends me a court TV, bit, and I can assure you I've never watched any of those bits on this case. I don't even know if I've ever really watched court TV, maybe back when Simpson was ongoing, I don't know. And in that bit, Barbara McDonald is talking 2 different occasions. She mentions how she's getting information from investigators on the ground and that were at the crime scene. Now we can all draw implications about that, but most importantly, it was corroborated by the fact that she was holding in her hand documents that I know to be directly related to the Purdue report. I mean, I saw the pictures. I know where those came from. And if you know, the point here is, I'm not going to say this maybe a little loosely, but forgive me, I don't care. I don't care that all this stuff is out there because it's been out there for 5 or 6 years. I don't have time. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have the time to sit and try to marshal all of this stuff while this case is ongoing because there's no end to it. But the point is, the court needs to have some context that this is nothing new. I lost sleep over the fact that there's a man who's dead and I don't even know. And frankly, Andy doesn't know. And it's tragic. I don't know what life circumstances he had or what surrounded this. None of that information has been shared with us. But at the end of the day, what's going on out of the cyber world and in the public, as you might expect in a case of this magnitude, that's been publicized for 6 years, was beyond our control before we even got involved. I don't know why this isn't telling me, let me go down a little bit. Okay, there it goes. I'm like, why wasn't it telling me what page we're on? Mr. Baldwin said, there's even a guy in Florida who says the guy in Texas who leaked all this stuff has received from a disgruntled Carroll County employee a whole file filled with stuff and photos included. And I haven't seen the photos that were leaked. I don't know what they are, I mean, if this could be a set for a formal hearing in the future where we have a chance to do it the right way, then that's one thing. But to go in there and we don't have any counter way to counteract anything. And I agree with that. You can't just send them out there and you have all these exhibits ready for them and to go against them, and they don't even know what they're even going against. They don't even know. I would be, I couldn't be an attorney because I'm one of those people, I have to be prepared, but like overly prepared, like in a non-organized way. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. If I know what it is, I can okay, I know what that is, or I don't know what that is. And and in the meantime, we can, I don't know, honestly, this is the lowest point of my career right now because somebody did but somebody did what they did to me. And, that has nothing to do with Richard Allen. And Judge Gull says it certainly does not. Mr. Baldwin, Richard Allen needs to have counsel there. So I don't want to go in there and not be able to fight back with evidence or witnesses that we have to counteract whatever they claim that they have. So, and then this is when Judge Gull starts talking. I'm gonna grab my soda. I'm like going back and forth between that and water. So she says, okay, here are my thoughts, no particular order. I don't know how many folks are out there. Come on now. And I certainly don't wish to air publicly to the world the concerns that I have about this matter. My intent in having this hearing was to go through some of the pleadings that we have not yet decided. So I was going to start with reminding everybody about the decorum order, reminding everybody why we're here, to shut up, etc., etc. Wow. There have been reports to my sheriff about disruptive people, and I will remind people if they are disruptive, they will be removed. And my sheriff is fully prepared to execute arrest if necessary, because I know we've seen in our other hearings, people have been disruptive and hateful. So under the rules, under the canons of judicial conduct, I'm required to advise people within the room that the media is here and they're filming. They're doing pool coverage, so there's only 2 cameras in the courtroom and everybody's going to get coverage from that. And then I want to talk about the pleadings. Defendant filed a verified motion for immediate transfer of custody. The state filed its response. The motion, again, has a lot of inaccuracies and some speculation, and it has been refuted ably, I think, by the affiants that have been submitted by the state, and I'm going to deny the motion. The defendant then filed a motion for broadcasting order. The state filed its response. Your motion's overbroad. It's got a lot of irrelevant verbiage in it, and I'm required to consider individual requests for hearings. So I will, if the media wishes to have an individual request submitted, they know fully well how to do that. And I provided to counsel all of those requests that I've gotten so far for this hearing. So if you want to file them in particular hearings, you're certainly welcome to do that. But the media is all over this, and they're not. They know how to do this. So Mr. Rozzi says, yeah, I was just trying to understand. Are you suggesting that you're going to determine that on a case-by-case basis or a hearing-by-hearing basis? And Judge Gull says, hearing by hearing. He says, okay, yeah. Mr. Rozzi says, all right, okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood what, and Judge Gull interrupts him and says, the state filed its motion for leave of court to subpoena the third-party records. I think that was directed again to DOC. I clearly can't grant that. I'm going to grant the defendant's motion to quash, but if you continue to raise his medical and mental health and pleadings, that's fair game then for that to be provided to the state. You have also filed, Mr. McLeland, a motion for future pleadings and filings to be sealed prior to being released to the public. I've not gotten a response from the defense. Mr. Rozzi says, can I speak on that? And she says, sure. And he says, I think it's important to note that, we've had a discussion come up before, and there was basically, we decided, okay, we're done sealing stuff. We're going to make it public. I don't think you can make that decision, but okay. Before we filed that Frank's brief, I had a long conversation with the court reporter, Karen Allen, over in Delphi, because I wasn't sure, Allen or Roller. I always wanted to call her Karen. And Mr. McClellan said Allen. Mr. Rozzi said, Karen Allen, because I wasn't sure about the mechanics of how all of this stuff was moving from Delphi to your office. And I know that you had a setup of some kind of a website or something that people could access. I was under the understanding in speaking with Miss Allen, I'm not blaming her for anything, but that when we file these things, they are going from them and they are hitting a button. We are filing with Carroll County. They are hitting enter and then they are sending it to you, and you are essentially filtering this stuff, or at least you were seeing it before it became public. And she says, nope. Mr. Rozzi said, and so that's the way I was talking with her. That's the way I understood the mechanics, which I think is what happened to a pleading the other day, from what I understand. We filed something and you either put it in a queue. I think there's anyway, I tried to do some homework on that. And that's what and Mr. Baldwin said, I was a part of one of those conversations and that's what she said. And Judge Gull says, does that need a hearing? I'm happy to have a hearing on that. I don't have a problem with that. Mr. Rozzi said, well, I don't really, I guess I'm just telling you for context. That's what and Mr. Baldwin says, I mean, there be a happy medium, or we file it confidentially. And then the judge then gets a chance to review it first. Cause that's what we thought was going on anyway. But if that's not what's going on, and Judge Gull says, no, it's been filed confidentially. Can't say that word for some reason. If you mark it as such. Mr. Baldwin said, I know that now. Judge Gull says, I had my staff mark the memorandum confidential after it had been filed and disseminated to the public because the actual warrant was in there. And that's covered under a miscellaneous cause number. I'm happy to have a hearing. Mr. Rozzi said, well, what is your ruling? I guess to make sure I understand. I don't want to fight about something that we don't need to argue about. And she says, I haven't ruled on that. And he says, okay. She says, you haven't filed a response and he says, yeah. Then Judge Gull says, my question is, do we need a hearing on that, or do you wish to file a response? The Franks motion clearly needs a ruling, and I'm working on that. The motion and exhibits are about 1,500 pages, and there are hours and hours and hours of interviews that have been made available that my IT staff has now cleaned to make sure they're okay. We've already talked about that. And then, that brings us to my concerns that I've raised with all of you on our phone call. And I write everything out, and this is what I intend to say in open court. I have concerns regarding the defense team and the totality of the circumstances surrounding your representation of Mr. Allen. Candidly, my concerns began at our hearing on November 22nd of last year. Mr. McLeland filed a motion for gag order, and we were in chambers, and you assured me, gentlemen, we don't want the media in our lives. We will not try this case in the media. And less than 2 weeks later, you issued an undated press release that contained an awful lot of information that would not normally be revealed. I don't know. I think you knew or should have known those were potentially violative of Rule 3.6 of the Rules of Professional Responsibility. But it is in that press release that prompted me to issue the order December 2nd, granting the gag order until further hearing. April 18th of that year, you filed a notice of tort claim against the Department of Correction. You stated in that notice that it was your intent to pursue our client's claims against you. The full amount of damages sought on behalf of my client is unknown. I don't know how you could do that in representing Mr. Allen in a criminal matter and then launch off into a civil matter. I think that's inappropriate. May of this year, we were notified by the state of the Brandon Woodhouse arrest and the subsequent discovery of your work product. And I think it was an outline that you created for yourselves with that discovery. It was pretty detailed. I don't know if that's the right word. That apparently happened in December of last year, and that was not revealed to anyone, not shared with the court. It wasn't shared with you, although apparently you guys knew about what was going on. And Mr. Baldwin says he didn't know. And Judge Gull says, you knew. Mr. Baldwin says, I did know. And the court says, so then Mr. Woodhouse gets arrested, and here we are, grossly negligent to email that to the wrong Brad. Your pleadings on the safekeeping order contain inaccuracies and falsehoods That was proven in the hearing we conducted in June. The evidence presented by the state clearly demonstrated the falsity of your claims, and that was troubling to me. And then the last couple of weeks that we have been dealing with, the state provided you discovery. That has been severely compromised. We now have an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to call it a criminal investigation. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly being investigated by the state of Indiana. Everyone involved has sought counsel, including you. Mr. Baldwin, you've had an attorney enter a written appearance this morning. I don't want to get into that investigation. Candidly, you are the constitutional authority for the state of Indiana. If you choose to pursue it, that's up to you. If you choose to abandon it, that is clearly up to you. I'm glad to hear that you have cooperated, but Mr. Baldwin's attorney has clearly shared. I don't know if you've seen his pleadings. Mr. McClellan interrupts and says, I saw it, Judge. Yes, I got it kind of late. He emailed us and she says, okay. And Mr. McClellan says, I saw that was filed on the way here. So Judge Gull says, so he's clearly shared it in his pleadings down to the fact that an individual has committed the S word. He included the fact that you left materials all over a conference room table accessible to anyone. And this is a friend of yours who apparently you have consulted with on this case. So again, it's up to you if you wish to pursue that. I'm looking at the totality of the circumstances. You know, when I look at a suppression, the case law requires me to look at the totality of the circumstances, and that's what I'm doing. And it pains me to say this, but the totality of these circumstances demonstrate gross negligence and incompetence on the part of the defense team. Now, I will say, if he's just like over there consulting with people, that he shouldn't be doing that. You're not supposed to be doing that. It says here, I am unsatisfied with your representation of Mr. Allen. I am gravely concerned about his rights to have competent, non-negligent representation. He currently doesn't have that right now because what you have demonstrated is negligence and incompetence. Now I'm sharing my thoughts with you privately. I don't want to say this in open court. I would encourage you to talk privately about what you wish to do. I don't want this coming out. It is not where we need to be with this case, but I will. But you don't know that, or you have just now been made aware of my concerns and where I'm landing. So if you wish to have a private conversation, I would encourage you to do that. I don't believe your client is here yet. No, he's not. Clearly, you'll need to speak with him as well. So, and Mr. Baldwin says, I'm not good at reading between the lines. And Judge Gull says, you're a lawyer. That's what you do for a living. Man, is this how it goes back here? Mr. Baldwin said, when you say have a private conversation, are you talking the four of us and she says, I'm talking about you. I'm not accusing the state of gross incompetence and negligence. I am finding gross incompetence and negligence with you. Mr. Baldwin said, so Mr. Rozzi said, forgive me, go ahead. And Mr. Baldwin said, no. And Mr. Rozzi said, I mean, obviously reading the tea leaves here, what you're giving us is a chance to do is bow out gracefully, if you will, if that's the right term. Is there a scenario where the court would accept if I stayed in the case? I mean, I'm not a team player, and I'm not that kind of guy that's just bail out on somebody just for the sake of doing it. But I think it's obvious that, he can speak differently, but I'm not as connected to some of you, this most recent circumstances as he is. Mr. Allen is in a situation where he's going to have to counsel. That's if he has new counsel. It's going to take them a year to get up to speed with the depth of information that continues to come in. And that's the truth. And so I think that his Sixth Amendment rights matter. And so, I'm probably the one that can at least move this thing forward with some sense of judicial economy. I don't like it, and that's not what I intended to do when I came in here today, but that would be kind of a worst case scenario on your side, I guess. So is that an option that the court would entertain? And the court said no. So basically what you're saying is you guys either quit on your own accord or you make me fire you. That's what I said. And she says, no. Judge Gull says, no, I'm saying to you that this is what I plan to say in court on the record when we convey at 2:00. Mr. Rozzi said, so are in the accumulation of that, you're removing us from the court. I will be, and she says, I will based on what I've just shared with you. Mr. Rozzi says, okay, well, I just want to make sure and she interrupts him and says, and I'm just giving you the opportunity to have a conversation, which how do you want that to go? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I will if I have to. Wow. This is insane, isn't it? Okay, I need a little break first, just a second. Wow, this is intense. Man, they really go after each other. Like, I mean, you see it in the shows, but I really didn't think that that's how they would conduct themselves. Like, in real life. I mean, especially the judge to an attorney. Like, I can see the attorneys doing that. You know what I mean? But the judge is supposed to be the referee. Like, that's what the judge's job is. Like, to hold order. And it's like, she's not very professional. I'm just saying. Just saying. Where were we at? So Mr. Baldwin says, after she says, she doesn't want to have to do that, but she will. He says, should we bow out gracefully? As Brad says, how would we even have a hearing? How would that go? Because if we're out of the case, then Mr. Rozzi says, then you're going to go ahead and rule on a bunch of stuff without lawyers in the room. And Judge Gull says, no, I would not do that. If you decide that your best course of action is to file a motion to withdraw, you can do that today, and I will send Mr. Allen back to the DOC after you've had a chance to speak with him. Mr. Baldwin said, would that happen before the hearing or after the hearing? And she says, your motion to withdraw would happen before the hearing. Mr. Baldwin said, okay, that's what I wanted. Yeah. The court says, or Judge Gull, yeah, that's because that's, he has rights, and I don't want those rights compromised by having a hearing with him not having counsel. I assume if you choose to withdraw that his financial situation hasn't changed and he would still be entitled to court-appointed counsel. I can't imagine that he has the ability at this point to hire counsel. I don't know that. Mr. Baldwin said, Brad and I need to go talk. And she says, yes, you do. Thank you, gentlemen. Like, yes, you do. Like, that's just kind of rude, like, to me. Like, yeah, you guys do need to go talk. Like, I would just be like, I don't even know. What's that off the record? Off the record. Okay. So she says, Mr. McClellan says, yep. Sorry. Thank you, Judge. And the court says, thank you, Jody. Court reporter, you're welcome. I would hate to be the court reporter. Okay. Yeah. So Mr. Rozzi says, all right. So obviously we're kind of trying to figure out how to address this issue with very short notice, very little notice. The first thing we did is really to talk to the client. She says, Mr. Rozzi, our client is a big part of this, the biggest part of this. And he has communicated to us, to us that he does not want us to withdraw from this case. He wants us to continue with his representation. He understands, I think, that he's not the gatekeeper, or he doesn't have the authority to really force the court to do that. He would like to say that on record. We asked him if that's what he wanted to do. He suggested maybe he would do it in chambers. It seems a little bit of a difficult position to put a man who's accused but not been found guilty, put him in a courtroom and have him to speak in the circumstances with a 15-minute notice. Andy and I, I'm going to speak for myself. I'll let him speak for himself. I'm going to file a motion to withdraw. I don't want to do it, but I don't think that I have a choice at this point. The options I've been given without any notice by the court really are either I withdraw or I'm going to be publicly shamed. And that's the way I see this. And I think that public shaming is there's not only a professional element to that. I think there's a personal aspect to that too. Very much so. But when the media is teed up like this, and we show up here today with the court having told us that we are going to conduct some business that somehow bleeds over into the forced resignation, or whatever you want to, however you want to characterize this, that, I don't feel like any other choice professionally. I have a life beyond this courtroom and beyond this case, and I have a family too. And I have a law practice, but I think we've been given some notice of what we were actually, if this would have been framed in a pleading format or some formal disciplinary, claim, which there's a process for that in our business, then we could have come in here today with an opportunity to refute some of those things that you clearly had, thought through and prepared before we got here. And we didn't have the opportunity. And it's the idea that I'm going to have to go in here in an open courtroom and essentially defend myself against claims that I don't agree with without any notice and without any opportunity, I think is unfair. But I also have some common sense, and me going in there and standing my ground because my client wants me to because my client wants me to is just going to make things worse for him. And so I'm going to withdraw my appearance. I'm going to walk out of here. I'm going to go down to my car. I'm going to call my staff and have them prepare a motion, and I'm going to withdraw my appearance. But I'm doing it because I don't think I have any other choice professionally, not because I want to, and not because my client wants me to. And I respect that the court has an opinion, but we're professionals and we can disagree. And Judge Gull said, of course. And Mr. Rozzi said, and I'm extremely, I'd say frustrated, probably a soft word, with the idea that we showed up today without any real opportunity to prepare for any of this. And I just think it's improper. And that's where I am. And that's my position. Me too. I'm with you. That's dirty. Like, that's really bad. Like, that's really bad. Whether the man's guilty or not, take the case out of it. Just if you think about any case with these two attorneys, they showed up with they thought that they were there for a hearing, for a motions hearing. And they're like, no, you're getting fired. We're just trying to get our dude out of prison to send him over to county jail. That's what they were probably going in there. And you know what I mean? Thinking they weren't thinking this. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. Sorry, it's hard to see the chat. I have it over here, but I didn't pull it up because I forgot. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. And then that way I can see it on this side. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Even if you don't celebrate, happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thursday. Happy day before Black Friday. So Judge Gull says, well, I think we talked about it when you asked for the disqualification. I indicated on our phone conversation, I'm inclined to do that. Mr. Rozzi said it was a phone conversation that was not on record, and then some follow-up emails. Judge Gull said, true. Mr. Rozzi said there's an informity to that. Judge Gull said, true. Mr. Rozzi said, and you also said that you hadn't even done any research, and you hadn't, had time to talk to your senior judge and all those other things. And he hasn't filed a pleading in the court either. And judge said, no, I'm doing this on my motion. Mr. Rozzi said, and I'm a lawyer who practices in lots of courtrooms, and I have been through some disqualification actions. In 20 years, I've never had a disciplinary complaint in my life that's been confirmed, if you will. But I've seen lawyers disqualified, and there is a process for that, and it's not this. With all due respect, where you walk into someone's office, a judge's office, and they read a prepared statement to you, and essentially that statement is an indictment on my professional, activities, and then you're handed essentially a piece of paper with two options, and one of them is, I'm going to go out there and shame you, or you can quit. You can understand how upset that would make any lawyer, and I don't think it's the right way to handle this from a due process standpoint. I agree. You should never read off notes if it's important, if you're speaking to somebody and if you're apologizing, or if you're talking about something, personal, you shouldn't be looking on a piece of paper. Eye contact, you should be looking at me. I agree with that. Where were we at? I'm going to go out there and shame on you. You can understand how upset that would make any lawyer. And I don't think it's the right way to handle this from a due process standpoint. So I have no choice but to, withdraw my appearance, because I'm not going to go in there and take a public shaming without having any notice of it. That's where I am with it. And Mr. Baldwin said, I'm the same withdrawing. I mirror what he said. I do appreciate giving us the advance notice. Really not. I mean, I feel like there's a little sarcasm in there. If there is some appreciation for that, I do appreciate that. But beyond that, I wanted to take this, I wanted to take this and finish it out. I'm stunned. I don't know what to say. So I'll just say I'm moving to withdraw orally. And Judge Gull said, okay. And Mr. Rozzi said, is the court going to generate some further instructions on what to do with it, with all of this discovery that we have? And Judge Gull says, I already have. Mr. Rozzi says, all of this information, and she interrupts him again and says, there's an order. I granted the state's protective order on discovery. Mr. Rozzi said, no, I'm talking about my possession of all of this information. Am I to take it out to the trash can? Am I supposed to wait for another attorney? Is the court going to give us some guidance on how to move all this information from one law office? And Judge Gull interrupts and says, I did. And he says to another. And she says, when I granted the state's protective order, I think it's the last paragraph on the protective order directs you to return it all to the state of Indiana, all the copies, all of the whatever you gave them. They are required under that order to return to you. And Mr. Rozzi says, at the conclusion of the case. And she says, or your representation. Mr. Rozzi says, I know what order you're talking about. I read the order before I came today. And she says, okay. And Mr. Rozzi says, so we're supposed to just take everything back and give it to the state and then just retain our work product until somebody asks us for it. And Judge Gull says, your work product is your work product. I mean, I would hope you'd want to share with your successor counsel. I would hope that you would want to help successor counsel just with the transfer of all of the information, because that's in your client's best interest to do that. But that's entirely up to you. That's your work product that you have developed. I mean, clearly the discovery is required to go back to the state. Mr. Rozzi said, okay, thank you. What do you want to do with Mr. Allen? And Judge Gull says, I can transport him back to the Department of Correction. Like, yeah, what do you mean? What are you going to do with him? I'm going to take him home. Mr. Rozzi said, do you want to make a record of his? I mean, I think it's appropriate that the court let him speak into the record his thoughts, unless the court just accepts that as notice that those are his opinions. And she says, well, you wouldn't lie to me about that. And Mr. Rozzi says, I would not lie to you about anything. And she says, so of course, that's your representation. That's what he would say if he were brought in here. I can't imagine the DOC being comfortable bringing him into my office. I would not be comfortable having him in my office. When I read that the first time, I didn't like that. Judge Gull, you look like a big bad wolf. Richard Allen's like 5 foot. And you know how many cops are around him? Have you seen the man shackled? He ain't going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. The dude looks emancipated. And he's not going nowhere. I think she'd be okay. Clear the courtroom out then. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Mr. Rozzi says, would the court also be inclined to mark as an exhibit the prepared statement so that it's part of the record? And she says, I have the record rolling. And he says, okay. And she says, yes. Mr. Baldwin says, so we're going to leave, I guess. And you're going to, how is this? You're just going to get up on the bench and say, I mean, this is like, they really have no clue. Because, I mean, they're like, and when she walked in that day, she walked in like looking like she meant business. I will just indicate to Mr. McClellan going to be in there, Mr. Luttrell, and I'll just say we've had a turn of events and defense counsel is withdrawing, and that's all I'm going to say. Mr. Baldwin said, can you wait for us to get out of here? It's because it's a madhouse. And they said their piece. They said, she says, of course, and we can have you. I don't know where you parked at. We have a hearing set for October 31st that I'd like to keep as trial setting and appointment of new counsel. And if you can get things together by that date to return to Mr. McClellan, that would be good. Otherwise, if with your permission, I will give successor counsel your contact information. They both say, okay. And she says, where are you parked? And Mr. Rozzi says, nice to meet you. Sorry to, and it's inaudible. Of course, can't hear those things. Mr. Baldwin said, just right out there in front of the building. I mean, there's a parking lot. There's a little parking lot right in front of the building. I don't know what. And she says, Judge Gull, everybody's in the courtroom. So I don't think that anybody out in the hallways. You'd be wrong. Mr. Rozzi, I'm going to go get my staff member. I'm going to have her. I don't need any. We'll rendezvous at some point and try to get the stuff back. Mr. McClelland said, okay, that's fine between Steve and I and Sarah and you. Mr. Rozzi said, okay. Mr. McClelland said, we will get it all. Mr. Rozzi said, that's fine. Mr. McClelland said, done. That's either Sarah. Mr. Rozzi said, thank you. And then the court said, thank you. Well, Judge Gull. And that concludes it, I believe. Oh, yeah. And then this. And that's just the certificate of the reporter. Like, yeah, she did it. So very back and forth. Very, they were mad. They're upset. I'd be mad too. Man, I'd be so mad if that was me. I'd be so mad, guys. Because the fact that like you worked hard on that case. And I'm OCD and I have ADHD. So I would put so much of myself into that, like just like they did. And then for them just to be like, sorry. And you don't even get a hearing about it. I mean, that's how you do things. If you fire someone, I mean, you don't really fire, you can fire them, they leave. But in a court of law, though, you have a hearing about it. You have proceedings, so very strange. So then when this came out, when did this come out? I have to go back up to the top. I think it was just the other day. I wanted to get you guys the actual date, though. I know this was from October, but I wanted to, okay, it came out on the 20th. Monday. I'm like, where were we? Okay, Monday. Because man, there were so many documents that came out. So sorry if I made you guys dizzy because I rolled up on that document. Where did the streamer go? Yeah, where'd you park? Yeah, we'll help you get out. Okay, that would look even more suspicious. If they have cops going outside with them, walking them out the door, that'd probably look even worse. You know what I mean? So maybe they realize that and they're like, we'll just walk out by ourselves. Because that would look kind of bad. And that would probably get more eyes on them from reporters if they were being escorted out by cops. Yes, back on my videos, you're absolutely right. I wanted to show, so after this happened, let me go back to my notes because it's just insane. So Judge Gull was hospitalized on November 2nd, but we're just now hearing about it now. They didn't give us a cause on what it was, but I was wondering if maybe this was going to be her reasoning for leaving. I don't know if they're going to make her recuse herself or if she's going to do it on her own. But I was just I'm wondering if, if they're going to make her just kind of step down. At this point, I don't even know what they should do. What do you guys think? What do y'all think? What do you think she was sick? What do you because they didn't give us a reasoning behind it. I was going to play this video for you guys. And then I'll read some more stuff, but I thought that this would be good to watch because she's she's not, they're not telling us what it is. I wonder if it is stress related. She shouldn't so she's not working right now. She's working from home. So I'm just wondering, if it is something like stress or something, then she doesn't need to be handling a high profile case. If she's if her immune system's low or something, Jan, appoint a new judge. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be something stupid. Not stupid because anxiety attacks are all stupid. I have them and they're terrible. But you know what I mean? Something that's this guy over here is fighting for his life, and we're trying to get justice for Abby and Libby first and foremost. That's what we need to be talking about. That's what we're here for. And they need justice. They deserve it. And, if it was Richard Allen, then he needs to go to jail for the rest of his life. But if it wasn't him or wasn't just him, then they need to get that crap figured out. So I'm going to play this video for us. If you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you guys haven't celebrated yet, there are people that celebrate Thanksgiving a little early. Sometimes people celebrate it later. Because Black Friday shopping. But I'm going to go ahead and play this video here for us. Here's JLR. Oh, yeah.
Richard Allen, you child murderer! Why did you do it? Shame on you! Shame on you, Richard! You're going to prison for the rest of your life! Shame on you, Richard Allen!
Welcome back. There are new developments in the Delphi double murders case out of Indiana. We now have the newly released transcript of an in-camera or a private meeting between the judge, prosecutors, and the former defense counsel that happened on October 19th.
The meeting happened prior to a scheduled hearing that was delayed about a half an hour while the meeting took place. The attorneys and judge met to discuss the leak of confidential crime scene photos from one of the defense attorney's office. That attorney, Andrew Baldwin, even brought his own lawyer to court that day.
That's right. And the former defense counsel Rozzi and Baldwin said they felt ambushed because they didn't know the judge planned to hear arguments at that hearing about why they should be removed from the case. And the prosecutor came prepared with witnesses and exhibits while Rozzi and Baldwin were unprepared. Here's what the judge announced in open court immediately after that meeting.
We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn their representation of Mr. Allen. Mr. Baldwin made an oral motion to withdraw. I granted that oral motion to withdraw, and Mr. Rozzi will be submitting a written motion to withdraw, I'm assuming within the next couple of days.
Rozzi and Baldwin have since filed motions indicating that they were coerced to withdraw, offering to represent defendant Richard Allen pro bono or for free. Judge Gull then stated at a later hearing that she actually removed them for gross negligence and telling Allen that she cannot allow Rozzi and Baldwin to continue representing him.
And civil attorneys filed suit with the Indiana Supreme Court, asking the court to order the release of this transcript to reinstate Rozzi and Baldwin, remove the judge, and set the trial date within 70 days of the order.
Also breaking late this afternoon, Judge Gull has been dealing with an urgent medical condition that required several days of inpatient treatment in a hospital earlier this month. We understand that since then she has been working from home while other judges handle her cases. I have so much to ask you about, Nima, and to say, Nima Rahmani is still with us, obviously. Here's the thing. The very first thing I take issue with, because as a former judge, it was so critical. No ex parte communications, period. What does that mean? You can't talk to one party. You have to talk to all the parties together, because otherwise it creates so many issues. It's prejudicial. It's not, you can't do it. And yet, if the prosecutors came armed with evidence, then somehow they must have heard what was going to happen. And if the defense attorneys met with her without the prosecution present, again, ex parte, that's rule number one as a judge. You don't do it, Nima.
So many rules broken in this case, Judge Ashley, and let's talk about that ex parte one. Sometimes you can have these hearings when an attorney needs to withdraw. It's called a Marsden motion, and they're talking about confidential communications with their client. Certainly you don't want that in the presence of the public or in the presence of the prosecution, right? You need to explain it to the judge because you need leave of court to withdraw. But that's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with disqualification. And I, too, take serious issues with how the judge handled this case. You don't come out and make a finding of gross negligence without a full-blown evidentiary hearing, giving the lawyers the opportunity to be heard. I mean, you're accusing them of malpractice. You're accusing them of civil liability, and that's not something you do. The issue in this case is a potential conflict. Now, certainly Richard Allen has a malpractice claim against his lawyers for allowing these documents to be on the conference room table, and he may have an ineffective assistance of counsel claim. That's what you need to look into. So the focus is the conflict versus Richard Allen's Sixth Amendment right to choose his own lawyer, and that's something that the judge should have focused on. I mean, she shouldn't be a finder of fact with respect to negligence. That's just not her role here.
Right.
Yeah, where do you see this going? What is the recourse here? I know there's been filings flying back and forth at all levels here, but in the interest of justice, the defendant's right, you would think, would be on top at the end of the day in anyone's goal.
Well, yeah, Chanley, that's right. And, here you have Richard Allen wanting the two to remain as his lawyers in a very serious murder case. So I think the correct thing to do would be to bring Richard Allen into court and explain his rights and say, you have a claim against your lawyers. They asked for a gag order, and they may have been responsible for the dissemination of these materials. It may have affected the jury pool. This information is out. So if you decide to proceed with them, you would need to potentially waive any claim that you're making against them. Do you understand that? It may be a claim for civil damages. It may be a claim for ineffective assistance of counsel down the road. You have to explain the rights, and he should be represented by separate counsel. I'm talking about Richard Allen, and he needs to make a decision. Does he want to proceed with the lawyers of his choosing, notwithstanding any malpractice or civil liability claim, or does he want to start the process over? I think that's what you need to do, not focus on the alleged negligence on the lawyer and make a determination.
And let's talk about practicalities, because I can also tell you I made use of being in chambers with all of the attorneys. Number one, all of the attorneys, no ex parte. But number two, Nima, because it could be an off the record, open discussion about their allegations of leaked documents. What do we need to address about that? Let's have this open conversation. Where are we going? What kind of hearings do we need to schedule? And then when I went back on the bench, I would not make findings of fact, but would rather say, we've had a discussion, here's who was present, and here's the outcome. We need to go forward today, or they may need to file a motion to withdraw, whatever the outcome was. You don't go back there to coerce, to threaten. And these attorneys are now claiming they were coerced. Do you think if you're summoned back to a judge's chamber and taken by surprise that you might, Nima, in the last 10 seconds, that you might freak out and maybe do the wrong thing when you go back in the courtroom as the lawyer?
I think so, and I think that's exactly what happened here, and I think that's why I have a good argument to.
Sorry about that. But so that just went over the transcript. So yeah, Judge Gull had a little accident, little hospital visit. If she was in there multiple days, you would think that would be like maybe like something serious. I don't know. What would they keep you? I've never been hospitalized for more than one day other than my car accident. And I was in there for over a month. It was like literally, one of those people, 0 to 100. Kaylee said, I hope the lawyers and judge learn something from all this. What a mess. Yes, me too. I hope the whole state does. I hope the whole country does. I don't know why I'm sure that there's a reason, and I don't know what it is. And don't come judging me either for this. But I don't know why all of the states the laws aren't equal. Like, I don't know why we have different, penalties for certain crimes are different in different states. Some states don't even have some of the crimes that other states have. It's just, I feel like it should be all around the board. United States should be all the same. It'd make my life a lot easier, my job a lot easier. So this next document I want to kind of go over with you guys. It's just the relator's motion for leave to respond to respondents' objections. And this came out on the 21st. We'll just go through this really quick, and then we'll get to they've arrested somebody in connection with the crime scene photo leak. So we'll get to that after we read this. And then there's a response to this. I'll save that till the end. It says defendant relator Richard Allen seeks leave to respond. Let me make this a little bit bigger for us. Why are we doing that to ourselves? To respondent's objection to relators, a verified petition for a writ of mandamus and support states. 1, the original action rules do not provide the responses to respondent's objection, but this court has granted leave to allow the same. Number 2, a response is needed here because respondent has represented to this court that its November 13th, 2023 order purporting to correct the errors raised in the original action resolves most of the public access issue raised in the petition and mutes this original action. You know how the judge was saying, well, if I do this and this now, like these motions will be mute now. Like, you know, that's what this is about. This response is 3. This response is necessary to show that this representation is incorrect and that the November 13th order at most corrected 20% of the errors relator has identified. 4. This response is also necessary because respondent's objection demonstrate a continued misunderstanding and misapplication of the responsibilities and requirements of the ACR rules. And number 5, relator therefore files his response asking that a writ of mandamus and prohibition be issued to require that all the errors be corrected and to ensure that the same errors do not continue to be made in this case as it progresses forward. And it was respectfully submitted by Maggie and Kara Jesse, and that's the attorneys for relator Richard Allen. So this document came in, was it today? What was it today? Yeah, I know that Jan sent me this today. I'm pretty sure you sent me this one too. Maybe not this one, but you sent me a lot. She was sending me all kinds of documents today. It was so nice. Thanks for helping. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, we're leaving it wide open for appeal if he's found guilty. Yeah. Oh no, back on my BS. Yeah. Oh man. You were for 7 weeks for pregnancy complications. Oh Lordy. And twice for several weeks for cancer. Now back on my BS now, since you've had cancer, I'm gonna ask you a question. And if it's too personal, if you don't know the answer, let me know. But we were wondering about Asa, Long Island serial killer. I know I'm getting on another case now, but is when you I know that all cancers are different, but is it super, super expensive per year to get your medications? Because they were saying online that a cancer treatment for the whole thing is $150,000. And I just find that, I feel that to be on the lower end. I don't know why. I feel like it, in my mind, if you have cancer, it just equals so much. So let me know if that's if you're no, the medicine isn't that expensive if you have insurance, or if it's just if you don't have insurance, then it gets expensive. You know what I mean? Because I'm just curious about her, about Asa, because she has that $1 million deal with Peacock now, so they're going to make $1 million off that. So, and she has that GoFundMe that she's trying to get because she needs money for cancer treatments. So it's just I don't know. So this is the new arrest warrant that came out, but this is just the file that came out. So it says here, the state of Indiana versus Mitchell Thomas Westerman. And that is going to be the gentleman or guy that took photos of the girls and the tree with the F in blood. He's going to come out and he's going to say he's the one that did it. Now, I'm going to read over this to you guys because it's just, isn't it convenient that he's coming out here and he's saying this? And when you figure out what he gets charged with and what the penalty is, it's did someone pay him to do this? I don't know. I don't know if he really did it, because it's very convenient that we're talking about crime scene photos are being leaked. These two, defense attorneys are getting kicked off the case. And then all of a sudden, bam, this guy comes forward and he's like, I did it. I don't know. I don't know on how I feel about it yet. But it says the undersigned affiant being duly sworn upon his oath says that she is informed and verbally verifies that between August 1st, 2023 and October 5th, 2023 in Johnson County, state of Indiana, Mitchell Thomas Westerman did knowingly or intentionally exert unauthorized control over the property of Andrew Baldwin, to wit, images. So that's what he took, was images, all of which is contrary to the laws of the state of Indiana. I am under the penalty. I affirm under the penalties of perjury that the foregoing representations are true. So I'm going to show you a picture of this guy because he's the guy that's on the thumbnail. So this is him. And I'm just going to read the top up here because like this is just goes on to the case. We know about the case. But it says a Westfield man has been charged in Johnson City for his role in leaking crime scene photos from the Delphi murders. This is kind of small. I don't know if I can get that to blow up for you guys a little bit. I think my fingers don't like. Oh, there we go. My fingers don't grip very good. Mitchell Thomas Westerman, or Mitch, 41. His years haven't been good to him. Is charged with conversion, a Class A misdemeanor. And I looked up conversion. Let me see real quick. It just says here, a person who knowingly or intentionally exerts unauthorized control over property of another person commits criminal conversion. And it's a Class A misdemeanor. Misdemeanor. So you can take and disseminate crime scene photos of little girls and you get a misdemeanor. Just like if you were to get a speeding ticket or get seatbelt ticket. Misdemeanor, let me think. You stole something at the Dollar Tree. Something, $5 lip gloss at Walmart. I don't know. Like that's what like a misdemeanor charges. Those are so like, he's literally out now. It was $1,000 bail or bond, $1,000, 10%, 10% of $1,000. It burns me. It burns me. If he did do this, then this should be theft. This should be point blank period theft. Conversion. Jan, is that really a charge? Do people actually get charged with conversion in Indiana? I've never heard of that charge in my whole life. I had to look it up. The only conversion I know is numbers. Yeah, because I, have a store. But yeah, I'm just wondering, is that like a thing? Like, have you ever heard someone say, yeah, I've been charged with conversion? I've never heard it. Really? Yep, sure do. They do? Okay. It must be an Indiana thing. You guys are just right next door too. It's like, it's so crazy how things can just be like a little. If I said that, if I went, I could just see me like saying that like Thanksgiving dinner. Like I was charged with conversion. My whole family would look at me and be like, what's that? Like they wouldn't even be like, they'd be like, what is that? He should be charged with theft. I mean, because if it's a serious charge, it's going to be a serious, they're not going to want to do it. I mean, these are crime scene photos. Really? It's so crazy. It must be like, because it's your property, but it's not your property, but it's a really thin line, I guess. I don't know. We're going to read the unsealed. It says he was charged with conversion, and it was filed in Johnson County Superior Court 3, was unsealed on Wednesday. Now, I can't say that county. Bartholomew? Yeah, something like that. That's so wrong. I had to call Jan. County Prosecutor Lindsay Holden Kay is the special prosecutor in the case and will handle prosecution of the case in Johnson County. It's not going to be a case to prosecute. I should have looked up actually, what do you get for that? What's the maximum you can get for conversion? I wonder. Like, both the 2017 murders of 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, last year's arrest of suspect Richard Allen, 51, of Delphi, and his criminal case have been subject to intense media coverage in both Indiana across the nation. The crime scene photo leak has received similar scrutiny. Now, I haven't seen the crime scene photos other than the tree. Now, if you guys have seen the girls' crime scene photos, let me know. Like, I mean, no judging zone here, because I haven't seen them. I'm wondering if they're even really there. If there was even like those pictures, because I haven't seen them. And I mean, I don't want to see them. Knock on wood that they don't ever come out. But it's just very strange to me that there's multiple people saying that they saw these. Multiple people. Oh, yeah, I got those. Oh, I got them pictures too. I didn't get these pictures. I don't want these pictures. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, who's all getting these pictures? And, there's usually a rotten egg in the bunch. So that's all I'm saying is I'm surprised that it hasn't been put out there. Yeah, me neither. I don't want to see him, but I just am wondering, and I don't want anyone to put him out, but there's just something weird there. And then it's very weird to me also that a certain creator says, tell everybody not to disseminate these and share our podcast. And then they come and try to copyright me for it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Let's do that. Don't work as a team. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. That was craziness. Oh, I'm trying to blow up the next page before I get you guys dizzy over here. Because I'm going to read you guys the probable cause for Mr. Mitchell Westerman. He's got a lot of explaining to do, really. He really does. Why? I want to know why. If you were buddies, with one of Richard Allen's attorneys, and that's how you got the pictures because they left you in a room and that's where they were sitting, why ruin a friendship over that? Like, is there money involved? Did someone say they were going to give him money to do it? I mean, it's a misdemeanor. It's not, I'm just wondering why it's not a bigger charge. Oh, yeah, yeah, man. Benjamin Rector, being duly sworn upon oath, states, and he's going to be the officer. So I'm employed as the law enforcement officer with the Indiana State Police. My current assignment is a detective in the Criminal Investigation Division. Law enforcement was advised on or about October 5th, 2023, that evidence from the murder case of State of Indiana versus Richard Allen had been released to the public. There is currently an order from the court in that case prohibiting the release of evidence to the public. Law enforcement was made aware of this evidence may have been obtained illegally and began an investigation. Law enforcement was able to retrieve the evidence from the creators of a podcast who stated that they got the evidence from an individual in Texas. Indiana State Police First Sergeant Jerry Holman was able to identify the individual in Texas as Mark Robert Cohen. Mark Cohen was interviewed, and law enforcement obtained screenshots of messages between Mark Cohen and an individual named Robert Fortson. Robert Fortson, remember there was 3 disseminators, and Mark Cohen have various discussions about various pieces of evidence involved in the Richard Allen case. Indiana State Police Detective Ben Rector was assigned to assist in this investigation. As part of the investigation, Affiant completed interviews with attorneys Brad Rozzi and Andrew Baldwin on October 12, 2023, concerning the evidence that was taken without consent in regards to the representation of Richard Allen. Affiant previously knew that Rozzi and Baldwin were attorneys which were assigned to represent Richard Allen in his criminal charges. During the course of the interview with Andrew Baldwin, Detective Rector learned that Baldwin is an associate of Mitchell Westerman. Baldwin has known Westerman for several years, and Westerman was previously employed by Baldwin's law firm. Westerman is no longer employed by the law firm. However, he still routinely stops by to the firm to visit with staff and Baldwin. Well, you don't take them in the office where you put all the evidence. Like, I can't believe this stuff wasn't locked up with the lock and key. But I mean, I guess he was helping him. He's asking for his help, which he shouldn't have been doing that either. On Monday, October 9th, 2023, Westerman contacted Baldwin at around 4 p.m. and requested to meet with him. They met at Baldwin's office shortly afterwards. Westerman told Baldwin that he had used his cellular phone to take photographs, which were in Baldwin's conference room. So they were laid out. And so he was taking them with his phone, photographs of the photographs. Now, I wonder if we looked at that F photo. I don't know where it's at. I don't even want to see it really, but I wonder if you can see a glare, if you could see if it's a photo of a photo. Do you know what I mean? If you could look to see if that's really what it is. Where are we at? The photographs dictated, I can't say the word right now. I'm getting tired. The crime scene related to the criminal charges against Richard Allen. Westerman stated that he had done this a couple of months prior and that he had shared them with an individual named Robert Fortson. Why? Why is your connection to the guy in Texas? Why is a guy in Texas getting these? Out of everybody in the U.S., Through the course of the investigation, law enforcement learned that Fortson shared these photos with another individual in Texas, Mark Cohen. Oh, maybe Robert's from here. I think he might be from here. Baldwin stated that based on the timing of events, he believed that there were in fact crime scene photos from the Richard Allen case in the conference room when Westerman visited his office. He also stated that there would have been side-by-side photographs which were previously used by the defense team in depositions. The photographs that Baldwin described are consistent with photographs that Affiant has viewed which were released of the crime scene. Baldwin stated that he did not authorize Westerman to take these photographs. During an interview with Rozzi, he also indicated that he did not authorize Westerman to take the photographs. Rozzi further concluded that he believed that Westerman's taking of the photographs constituted theft because he did not believe that anyone had authorized Westerman to take the photographs. An affidavit was also provided to Allen County Judge Gull, which states the following. Now comes Mitchell Westerman being duly sworn under oath and states the following information is within his personal knowledge and is true to the best of his knowledge. I was in Attorney Baldwin's office building waiting to visit with Andrew. So this is, Mitch saying what he did. He was in his office either meeting with a client or on a telephone call with the door closed. I went into the conference room to wait. 2, I observed printed copies of the photograph evidence of the conference room table. I took photos of a few of them. Andrew Baldwin did not give me permission to take the photos of the printed copies. He was not present, and he did not have any knowledge that I took pictures of the evidence photos. I am freely and voluntarily typing and signing this affidavit on my own accord because it is the truth. This document indicates it was signed on October 18th, 2023 by Mitchell Westerman and was also notarized. Hold on a second. That was like the day before their in-chambers meeting. That's very suspicious. I don't know. The day before they're going to meet with the judge, somebody comes forward and says, I leaked the crime. I don't know. Affiant further believes, I don't know what to believe in this case, though, that the above-mentioned facts establish probable cause to believe that Mitch Westerman has committed the act of conversion. Now, I'm telling you what, right now, this dude, he knew that he was walking out of jail when he put this affidavit together. Nobody just comes out of the woodwork and says, pick me, I committed a crime. Nobody does that. And if they do that, they're not going to do it. Okay, wait, I wouldn't have been today. So never mind. Let's skip that. Because I was going to say right before Thanksgiving. But still, they wouldn't. I just don't feel like that. No, the lawyers didn't. They didn't tell the judge. The prosecutor was like, I was on this case for 16 days or something. Like, I was searching, like, and investigating it. So the judge and the prosecutor were like investigating stuff together, it seems like. They were like getting their case together. And then this is just the signing of it. And then we have the order, which is, I think this is the last document. Woo, look at that. We did it. And then I'll show you a little brief video. It's like a minute long. We did it though. That's as much as I can get it to blow up. Oops. That's okay. I'll just read it to you guys. It's an order for the court, Indiana Supreme Court. So we're at the Supreme Court level now. And this came out today. On October 30th, 2023, the relator by counsel petitioned for a writ of mandamus and prohibition seeking relief under the rules of procedure for original actions. On November 16th, 2023, respondents by counsel filed a brief opposing the petition. The realtor has moved to file a brief replying to the respondent's brief. Although the rules of procedure for original actions do not afford a relator the right to file a reply from the respondents, have opposed issuance of a writ. The court retains the authority to permit deviation from the rules and chooses to do so here. Being duly advised, the court grants the relator's motion for leave to respond to respondents' objections. The clerk is instructed to file the relator's response to respondents' objections as of the date of this order. And that was the document that we had just went over right before this one. So that was their response. Lots of stuff going on in Delphi. Lots of stuff. There was nothing. How long did we wait? 5 years? We're going on 7 years now, right? 17, 2020. Wow. Yeah. So 5 years, it was like 5. We didn't have like nothing. We had like breadcrumbs. We were getting nothing. And then the probable cause affidavit, we got that. That was like it. Like that was like all we had. And then all of a sudden it's just like, it's crazy. Okay. Thank you, Isabel. She said she can confirm that they're out there, but she can't confirm if they're real. I should send you the description. So I know a lot of people are reenacting it though too. Oh, Rita, I'm upset with them. They caused me trouble. I was like, what? You told us to make sure that this was disseminated, and that's what I did. But I wrote him an email. It was like 6 a.m. I wasn't very happy. Actually, I wanted to show you guys a quick video. I wasn't happy at all because I was like, I am just trying to make sure that nobody puts these crime scene photos out. Because I literally was thinking, like, when I heard that they were that they came out, Gannon Stalk, that little boy, like flashed in my head, and I was like, no. And it was so confusing at the time, like who had them, who got them, how did they get the crime scene photos? So I thought I would let someone help me explain it, but I should have just explained it myself. So this is just going to talk about the one person that was charged with taking the crime scene photos. And this was on Court TV right before I came on tonight. So I'll play this here for us.
All right. Now, before we take a quick break, we do have some breaking news for you. A suspect has been arrested in connection with the stolen and leaked crime scene photos in the case against Richard Allen. Now, Allen is accused of killing teenagers Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi, Indiana.
Now, a former co-worker of one of Richard Allen's former defense attorneys, Andrew Baldwin, has been charged. Mitchell Westerman is charged with conversion after admitting to photographing sensitive crime scene evidence from the murders case and sharing those photos online. Westerman claims he found the evidence on a table in a conference room of Baldwin's and then shared them with another person. According to court documents, the individual Westerman shared documents with sent them to numerous others.
And in previous filings, Baldwin referred to the leak as an act of betrayal. He had access to the office, and it wasn't Baldwin. Baldwin has argued now. Again, he's been tossed off the case. Well, he removed himself from the case, and he would have been disqualified because of allowing this information to be leaked.
And, I'm not surprised someone's been charged, but it's happened fairly quickly, which I am a little surprised by.
Yeah, a lot of surprises in Delphi, Indiana.
Absolutely.
Usually it is, Cheryl, if it's like evidence, but since this is like discovery and stuff, and it is evidence, but it was with the attorneys, they should have a locked room. Attorneys should. I thought they would. I really did. I sincerely thought that attorneys' offices, they would have like a locked filing cabinet system, roll out the big ones, or like the ones that you separate and you have to like crank and stuff, like, the big ones. That's what I saw when I just assumed. No, what did you get arrested for? I didn't see that, Ashley. They can't now. Yeah, Kaylee, those girls need peace. They need some. It's been long. It's been a long time. Like a long time. This case just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. I'm telling you what. I'm going to go back up in the chat and see what you guys were saying. Ashley, did you have a good night last night? I don't ever drink either. I think the last time I actually had a sip of alcohol was 1 year ago, Thanksgiving, and I had a beer. And that was, I don't know why I didn't drink more. Who only has one? Me. See, that's usually me, Ashley. I don't usually just have one or two. That's why I don't drink. Like, because when you like drink, you want to like get loose a little bit and have fun. Or if I'm going to like somewhere, if I'm out in public, then I don't get trashed. But you know what I mean? Like, unless I was in my 20s. There's video, I'm sure, out there somewhere. It's probably on my Instagram, actually. It's probably right there. I need to go check out my own Instagram. I don't even know what's on there, but I have it under TitaniumBuilt. So if you guys want to take a look, you can see the past me. I was one heck of a good time in my early 20s. Nah, I did it pretty good in my 20s. I think that's when you're supposed to, have your fun. And then I really settled down when I hit 30. I really settled down when I hit 25, I think, 26. I kind of did that. I kind of did it early, a little too early. Yeah. See, Roseanne knows how to do it. She kept her patient charts in a locked filing cabinet. And your office was locked. Yes. And the locked front door. Yeah. That's exactly how it should go, Roseanne. Like with lawyers, exactly. That's how I thought it was. They're supposed to hold your secrets. Like if you're guilty of something, they're supposed to be like, you're not guilty, But I'm sure there's stuff in documents that, or do they just not? They just keep it all up here? I couldn't do that. I need my notes. But I also would feel I would be beyond upset if I were those two attorneys and I walked into court thinking that I was just going there for another motions hearing and I was getting fired. And not even fired. You're getting she's giving you the benefit though. She's letting you, recuse yourself first. That's really how it felt like that transcript went. Very she doesn't seem very nice on paper. Me reading her what she's saying, she just didn't seem like she was a very nice person. But then again, I guess if you're a judge, I don't know, but judges seem to be nice. Oh, you do TGN? Yeah. I don't have a locked system, but I don't need one, I don't think. I just have my notebooks down here. I was writing notes for the longest time. I was typing them out and then I was printing them up. Y'all, I probably went through a forest. So I was like, we can't do that. So that's why we got me a second screen, because it's so much easier for me to type up notes on Notes or something through Apple than it is for me to get a bunch of paper, because I was doing that in the beginning and I was like, this is going to be so bad. And then printer ink, it was a lot. So I was like, let's not do that. The Fireball. Usually Vincent will drink once a year and it's at his Christmas party. And if he has a sip of alcohol, I'm talking a sip, he turns bright red. I don't know. It's something in his genes. It's something in him. I've never seen another person do it. I've never seen it in my life, but it's like he will get as red as his shirt. He'll wear a red sweater or something and he'll turn the same color. He looks like a big tomato. So I'll have to take some pictures because the guys always get him to take a couple drinks. And then I usually drive home because I won't drink. I'll drink a glass of wine. You broke out and got red? Oh, you should see him. I'll have to pull a picture of him. He'll be so embarrassed. He gets so red. I'm like, why are you so red? Because we actually went to get our nails done. This was a long time ago. He went and got his toes done while I got my nails done. He never does that. He didn't even need it. And I go to walk up to him after I'm done and he's just beet red, and they sell wine at that place. But I wasn't drinking. I didn't think that he would be drinking. He never drinks ever, 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 ever. And he had a glass of wine. I was like, you've been drinking. Because I knew he had been, because I'm like, look how red you are, bro. You told on yourself. Oh, it's an intolerance to alcohol. That's definitely what it is then, Ashley. Yeah. I thought maybe because he was Asian or something. I'm like, is it your Asian genes? Because is it something with your complexion, something in your blood? I don't know. He's allergic. Oh, then he don't need to be drinking, because he never drinks. This is one time a year, and he'll drink and but the thing is, he can drink. The guy he can put him back. They had him drinking, what was that? Moonshine one year. And I'm like, no. And he had 2 or 3 shots of that and he was still standing, and had a few beers and was still standing. And I'm like, he's cool. He's cool. Hey, Steven. Man, that's probably what it is. It has to be the intolerance. I feel red. I'm shiny tonight. So sorry, guys. I put lotion on my face before the live. I didn't put makeup on. I took it off actually because I was in makeup all day. I don't know who goes to the dentist with makeup on. I did. It was dumb. But I did go to the dentist today. I felt good. I was going to tell you guys something I thought, but I forget what it was. I can't remember. Now I can't remember. I don't think it was anything important, but I think that's all I have for you guys for tonight for the live. We got through all the reading. We did it. If you guys didn't catch our live from last night, we did 1 year over Madalena Kojikari's case. She's a missing little girl out of North Carolina, Cornelius, North Carolina. So if you guys would like to watch that and push it out into the algorithm, that would be fantastic. If you guys don't have time to watch it, if you just want to go over there and comment under it, hashtag Madalena Kojikari. Nobody's looking for this little girl, and she has nobody to look for. She has no family here in the United States. I don't know if her crazy grandma was still over here. She came over for a minute, but you know. Oh gosh, Doodlebug, people want to come at noon. I hear you. I got to text my sister-in-law and tell her we're not going to come. We're going to stay. I think I'll stay at home. Just this year, it feels weird. I feel bad. I feel like, I don't know, but I just want to relax, and I don't want to be out on the roads. You know, it was crazy today. I had to take myself to the doctor this morning. I hate taking myself. So when I got there, that's what I was going to tell you guys. My blood pressure was through the roof. And I'm actually going to take it when I get off here. My blood pressure doesn't go high. Like I normally am really regular, like 120 over 80 all day. I was at like 145 over 120 or something, or 1 something today. They weren't going to see me. The instructor didn't want to. She was like, I don't know. Her blood pressure's high. So they took it like 4 times. Then she manually did it. She was like, it says this. And I'm like, that works for me. Because I was like, I'm fine. I think it was just because I was walking fast. But yeah, I'm like, oh. I know. Maybe I will, Cheryl. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Tonight is the biggest night to go out in my hometown. So if I were to go out, it would have been tonight. But because that's when you get to see everybody. But maybe I'll end up going somewhere tomorrow. You never know. But I hope you guys all have a great night. If I don't see you tomorrow on the live for Thanksgiving, have a great Thanksgiving, guys. I hope you guys get to share it with family, friends, all that good stuff. I'm going to put my little happy Thanksgiving thing back up here so you guys can see it.